Hello and welcome back to what is presumably going to be the finale of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. This has been one hell of a ride from the very first episode of the very first game, and I think this is going to be the final showdown to find out who the real murderer is. February 10th, 3:36 p.m. District Courtroom number 7. Okay, here we go. The final showdown. Now then, before we proceed any further... Nope, wrong. I'm going to announce the results of the tests we had performed earlier. Tests? Yes, tests. On the bloody dagger that was found stuck in the pine tree. Oh yeah, that. I completely forgot about that.
That's the weapon that my affair used when she fought with the victim.
So what are the results? Was it the victim's blood, or due to time constraints, a full test was impossible and inconvenient? There's one thing we can say with certainty. The blood that was on this dagger was not the victim's blood. Okay. That is all. Now then, let's restart the trial. So it wasn't Misty's blood on the dagger. Then whose was it? Dagger updated in the court record. I'm sure both the defense and the prosecution know this, but this trial is rapidly coming to a close. Both sides will need to show some firm evidence with their claims. I understand, Your Honor.
From what I've heard, the witness is dangerously weak, physically speaking, so let's finish this quickly.
Agreed. Very well, please bring in the last witness. Maya Fey.
Witness, please tell us your name and profession.
Maya Fey. My profession is, I'm the assistant manager at Wright & Company Law Offices.
Maya.
According to the magazine I have here, you're experimenting with the crane channeling technique.
I'm frightened. The Fey clan, I don't want any more to do with it.
Oh, Maya. The pain the Fey bloodline causes must be unbearable.
Very well. Now then, Miss Fey, when the event occurred, you were in the garden of the Inner Temple, and you witnessed the moment of Mr. Eliason's murder. Is this correct?
I didn't see it.
Straighten up this instant, young lady.
Huh?
Pick your head up and speak clearly. There's always time for trying later.
But
Your mother was killed right in front of your eyes. There's nothing you can do to change that fact. But there's something you can do. You can finish this. You've been watching the whole thing, right? You've seen the witnesses come out and you've seen us squeeze the truth out of them. Now it's your turn. Let's hear your testimony. On the night of the crime, what exactly did you see happen? Witness, if you please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting. At the Inner Temple. Alright, Maya, what do you got for us?
I was passing through the garden on the way to a spare prep room when it happened. Suddenly, someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and I ended up against a stone lantern. I think I screamed, "Help me!"
Whose attention were you trying to get with saying "help me"? I don't think that was gonna help anything.
So you were struck on the head. I suppose it must have been the staff.
Maya, the person who hit you. It was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, Nick. I couldn't see.
I don't know who it was, yeah, because the light was turned off. Right, the stone lantern... was not lit at the time of the crime. Maya, think hard.
Sorry, Nick, but I really couldn't.
Oh, can't say it was an especially good night for young ladies to be walking around alone. It seems that it will be hard to determine the criminal through testimony alone. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your cross-examination.
Maya, hang in there. She doesn't look all well at all. We can do this, don't worry. At the Inner Temple. Okay, so why did you scream? You think you screamed, but you're not sure?
Listen, I was a complete wreck. It was dark and I couldn't see my attacker. Was it a man, a woman, an adult, a child? I had no idea. I was scared out of my wits.
Believe me, my dear, I'm certain I would have soiled my robes.
I thought this person might attack me, so Anyway, I'm pretty sure I screamed. I thought it was my last hope.
Wow, it sounds like poor little Maya was out of her mind. But I wonder what she meant by last hope. What do I press her for more details? We know what she screamed. I don't know why you're making a big deal of my last hope, but there must be something to it. Wait a minute, Maya, what's this my last hope stuff?
What? What do you mean by your last hope?
But no, that's what you said. You said my last hope.
Huh? What? I said what?
Look, you were facing an attacker you couldn't see and you screamed, right? You screamed, "Help me."
Yeah.
But you testified that you screamed because you thought it was your last hope.
Oh, well, you know, that's like what you do call it when that happens.
Mine's not doing so well up there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember now. I was facing my attacker, it's not who I was screaming at.
Then, who were you screaming at? What did you just say?
Yeah, that's right. It was the person
behind your attacker? What?
Ah!
What is it now?
I messed up. I didn't mean to let that slip out.
Huh? Oh, witness! Are you absolutely sure of what you're saying? Behind this attacker, there was another person?
I meant to keep that part a secret. What have I done?
Ha, it takes a ton of pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always say.
A ton of pressure.
You're in a court of law here. You can't make things up or try to hide things in this chamber.
Witness, the information you just presented is vital to the case. I want you to add it to your testimony.
You can see a man behind you. What? Bullshit. What? You could not. Number one, you could not tell. I don't even. Okay, sure. You see your attacker because you know it's the one attacking. You can see the knife swings through the air, or whatever, and they're right in front of you. But behind the attacker, not only would you not be able to see anybody behind the attacker because the light's off, you definitely wouldn't be able to tell that it was a man. There's absolutely no way that you could have discerned who. Like, okay, let's walk through this. Pitch black. It is pitch black at night. You can barely see your attacker, and yet somehow you're able to discern that just by looking behind the person that this alleged man behind your attacker. Oh shit! It's Godot! It's Godot! It has to be! Do you remember when all the lights went off in the courtroom? And his visor lit up. Remember? His visor was still illuminated. So if the lights were that makes so much sense. Because she would be able to tell it was a man because if it was Godot, because his visor would still be lit up. Okay, let's not present it just yet. Let's just establish the obvious contradiction that the stone lantern was not on. So there was a man standing behind your attacker. Yeah. That man, he's the killer. He stabbed her from behind. He's the one who killed Elise and Nim, otherwise known as Misty Faye, your mother. The killer! Maya, you know who killed your mother, don't you?
Well, what is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? To be frank, Your Honor, I think she is in shock and quite confused. That's why she hasn't noticed the huge problem with her testimony.
Uh-huh? What do you mean? What problem?
Maya, on the night of the crime, the stone lantern was out of commission.
Huh? What?
It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden that night.
No!
Order in the court. Mr. Godot, explain this.
Add the pureness of milk to the perfect clear darkness of coffee and stir. That is the state of the witness's mind right now. A cup of cafe au lait.
Cafe au lait? Is that even legal?
Mr. Tright's words are the milk and you are the spoon, Your Honor.
I'm a spoon? I'm no spoony boy, I'll have you know.
You must have noticed it too, Trite. This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. It's not hard to understand why she would make a little mistake like that.
Sorry, but that's not going to cut it.
What did you say?
If there truly was no light in the garden, then there's a fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony.
Nick!
May I? Recall the witness's statement about her attacker. She said that she didn't know if it was a man or a woman, an adult or a child. And yet, the witness could describe a person that was standing behind her attacker, and she quite clearly described him as a man.
Ah!
In other words, that would have to mean that Maya actually saw our mystery person, despite it being so dark that she couldn't see the face of her own attacker. Order! What in the world does all this mean, Mr. Wright? Are you saying Miss Faye saw the real killer under pitch black conditions?
Trite, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen in the dark? There was no other light source at the scene.
Oh, but there was. There are some things that you can only see in the dark, Mr. Godot. Maya, you did see who the killer was in the dark, and now I'm gonna cover for him. Cover? For the man that killed her mother? There's only one conclusion that I can draw from this. You know who this man is.
Please, Nick! I don't know anything. Please, I'm begging you.
Ha, you talk a good game, Trite, but let's see if you can walk the walk. It was pitch black, so what could the witness see?
No, Nick, don't! Please stop!
Maya is dead set on protecting this guy, the man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother, but I can't let him get away with it. I'm a lawyer, an officer of the court, and I'm here to find the truth. Alright, Mr. Wright, time to show us what you got.
Who was this person you say Miss Faye saw in the darkness? It was Prosecutor Godot. Because it was pitch black, Miss Faye was able to recognize the killer easily. I'm sure the court would like to see for itself how this is possible, yes?
What? But how do you propose to show us something like that?
It's easy. We just need to recreate the conditions of that night.
Conditions?
Your Honor, the defense officially requests that all the lights in this courtroom be turned off.
Well, this is... But it can't be!
Huh. Ha 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 ha!
That was a nice bit of deduction, Tried.
I knew it! Well, everyone, this is the man Maya saw on the night of the murder.
Order! 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 Prosecutor Godot, what is the meaning of this? Surely you must be shocked to hear yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it? Oh.
Your Honor, you're asking the wrong person.
Well, what do you mean by that?
If you got a question, ask the witness. That's one of my rules.
Well, Maya, how about it? What you saw that night? Was it 3 glowing red lights?
Well, witness, answer the question.
You're wrong. I never saw that. Maya. I thought the person that stabbed my mother was a man, for a totally different reason. What?
Well, witness, Mr. Wright.
Stop your chattering, Your Honor.
Chattering?
If it's worth asking, ask the witness. That's one of my rules.
Alright. Well then, let's continue with the testimony. Please tell us how you knew the killer was a man.
Yes, Your Honor. I didn't realize it up until after I woke up, but... I can't wait to hear this. Okay, the killer. When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. The torches were lit, and why were the torches lit? Why were the torches lit? And also, why was the snow gone?
So it was after the crime took place that the witness came to think the killer was a man.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, Your Honor,
No need to apologize. As Mr. Godot said, you're utterly exhausted. It's only natural that you would be a little confused. Also, if you consider the situation you described, it doesn't seem too much of a stretch to assume the culprit was a man. Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
Okay, well, I want to know why the torches were lit. That's gonna be the first big thing there. The torches were lit? Yes! That's how I noticed the whole scene had changed! I'm going to say it was the killer who lit the torches. I mean, who else could it be?
The killer probably lit them so as to be impossible to do any cover-up work in the dark. However, if that's true, then there's one thing that still bothers me. Why did the killer go to the effort of moving the body?
That's true. It's hard to see how they would be of any advantage to the killer. The only one who would gain anything from that would be the only person that was at the inner temple, Maya.
Very well, let me hear some more.
Well, snow, yeah, and then I don't know why that was the case. So you're saying the killer cleaned up the snow to look really odd. The snow was removed in an unnatural-looking rectangular shape around the lantern. There were a lot of shovels around the inner temple, but they're all really heavy. Way too heavy for me to use.
An odd fellow indeed, this killer. Why on earth would anyone want to take snow away?
Well, there's only one thing I can think of. Didn't you say that a lot of the victim's blood spread onto the snow? Yeah. The area I collapsed and ended up being splattered. In other words, the killer purpose was to hide the bloody snow. Oh, that's more proof! That's more proof of what's going on! So he cleans up the snow around the thing, like around the snow lantern, saying, "Oh,
I got rid of all the blood."
But he can't see, because he can't see where the blood is. So he just assumes that if I clear out all of the snow around the stone lantern, then I must have gotten it all, but he could not see it on the stone lantern. That's more proof it was Godot. That's just even more proof it was Godot.
Perhaps. However, there's something that's bothering me. If the killer just wanted to hide the snow with blood on it, then there was no need to remove that amount.
That's true. He could have just swooped up the snow with blood, unless he couldn't see the blood. But I think this will help them explain them. The person did all the work alone, scene was just a man. The killer certainly went through a lot of trouble moving the body by pendulum manipulating the crime scene, but for what purpose? Why do all that? Maybe mine was one she's letting on. When I came to lying on the training floor, your life of the place totally changed. Maybe I'd ask more about how it changed. I don't know. Naturally, the killer must have done it, right? Yes, I think so. But why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? There must have been something the killer desperately wanted to hide. The truth is, when I saw the crime scene, I felt something.
You did?
Yes, I felt like the killer was hiding the evidence for me, for my sake.
Oh, what? Hiding it for you?
Everyone knew that I was the only one at the inner temple that night. If Sister Bikini had come back and looked at the garden...
She may have thought that you had done it. No, she definitely would have thought so. And you're saying that's why the killer cleaned up the crime scene to make it look like nothing had happened?
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Well, that's certainly an important piece of information. I want you to add that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. I think it was for my sake that the killer cleaned up the evidence of what happened.
But he didn't get all of it. He didn't get all of it because there's still a little bit left over. The body of Elise Nim was carried all the way to Hazakura's temple courtyard. Then, at the garden, the real scene of the crime, that snow we suspect was covered in blood and scooped up and removed. It's reasonable to believe all this was done in an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, there's still one matter that seems somewhat odd.
Oh, and what would that be?
You must have figured it out by now, Mr. Godot. It's the message written in blood on the lantern. It was written very clearly on the white stone lantern. Maya.
Ah!
If the killer was so motivated to protect Maya from suspicion, then why didn't they wipe the writing off the lantern? Oh, you're right. Order, order, order. But, Mr. Wright, isn't it a fact that the killer was trying to cover up the crime scene? Indeed. But it doesn't make any sense to move the body and remove the bloody snow. Then not wipe off the most incriminating thing of all, the bloody writing.
But if that's the case, do you have an explanation for the killer?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because you couldn't see it.
Why did this killer move the body and roll that snow, but then leave the bloody writing in the lantern?
Because he couldn't see it. I don't know what the killer's plan was, but it's a fact that the killer left the writing in the lantern. There must be a reason for it. Well then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your opinion. Why did the killer leave the message? The killer didn't notice it. Prosecutor Godot, earlier in this trial you gave me some good advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought.
The real killer wanted to disguise the fact that a crime had occurred there. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must mean that they didn't notice it.
But that doesn't make any sense. Torches were all lit and everything. There's no way any normal person would miss something as glaring as that.
You're right. There's no way that any normal person would. What? What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright? There's only one person involved in this incident who could have missed seeing the bloody writing altogether. Who would that be? Who was the person that could have feared the most? It's Godot. Again. Mr. Godot, this is what you said yesterday.
My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even these huge goggles on my head still can't see everything.
You can't see everything? Is that correct, Mr. Godot? This lantern was submitted as evidence today. I would like the court to think back to the moment it was first presented. Look, this lantern, there's something written on it. Well, why it's written in blood?
Oh, nonsense, this lantern. It just clues the whistle.
Mr. Godot, just admit it. There are certain colors you can't see, correct? You can't see red on a white background, can you? That's right. We went through this once before, during the poisoning case at Trebien.
Most of the apron that the life of my spirit was wearing at the time, and somehow spilled coffee on.
There's something still bothering Mr. Godot. Why would you have not explained this bloodstain to the court?
Bloodstain? What bloodstain would that be?
Don't play games, prosecutor. The blood-colored stain that's sprayed all over the apron.
That's ridiculous. No one told me anything about a bloodstain.
You could see the coffee on the white apron, but you couldn't see the ketchup because it was red.
Huh. It's strange. In a black and white photo, those letters would have appeared to me. But I wonder, why am I the only one who can't see them?
So then, Mr. Godot, are you admitting it? Are you admitting that you can't see the red writing on the lantern?
Hey, Glance, didn't you know? That's the reason why I don't drink red tea.
I wasn't sure about it until now, but I just can't believe it. Prosecutor Godot is the murderer, but there's no going back now. I finally figured out the truth. Mr. Godot, the defense at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Miss Elise Denim, also known as Miss Misty Faye. It's hard to believe this may be true, however. Once again, Mr. Wright has brought up a disquieting fact about you.
Huh. Just make sure you don't fill out the indictment in red ink, Gramps. Come on, how does a little graffiti make me... go on, Tried.
The answer is right there at the crime scene. In the snow.
The snow? How so?
Well, for example, why did the killer move all that snow? Your Honor, you said it yourself. If he wanted to hide the bloody snow, why not take out just that area?
Yes, why didn't you just take that? Ah, could it be?
Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood that had seeped into the snow, and so he had to remove all of the snow. He couldn't be sure where the blood had landed.
Isn't it likely the killer couldn't see the blood because it was dark?
Not a chance. The torches were all lit. He would have been able to see just fine.
It seems that once again this trial is taking an unexpected turn, to say the least. Can you explain this, Mr. Godot?
Wait just a minute! Maya.
Well, what is it? Witness?
Mr. Godot isn't the killer! After all, he didn't even come to the inner temple until 2 days after the murder took place. He didn't show up until after the old bridge got fixed up. Or he was there, and he hid there, and that's why he was there as soon as, like, because we got to the bridge pretty quickly. So that would explain why he was there already, and he said,
It took you long enough. Can't testify to something like that.
why? What do you mean? I mean, look, but
After the murder happened, you didn't even exist.
She didn't? I'm afraid I don't follow.
Oh, you see that, old man? We established it just a little while ago. After the murder, this witness was unconscious for a long time. Because she was channeling Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, that's right.
But please, Your Honor, let me add to my testimony. Nick, please listen to me. Maya, do you plan to cover for Godot no matter what the cost? If that's the case, then I've got no choice. Your Honor, let's hear her testimony. If it means we're going to hear the whole truth, I say we should not silence her.
Ha. Nicely done, Tried.
Very well, let's hear the witness's testimony. Please tell us what happened to the inner temple after the murder.
Yes, sir. After I woke up, I began my channeling and my spirit left me, as it were. But little Pearlie was there at the inner temple, too. Pearlie was also stuck on the inner temple side that night. The next morning, she looked around but couldn't find anyone. The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. That's when Mr. Godot arrived at the inner temple for the first time. He found Pearlie first and cheered her right up. I don't think Pearls would have been cheered up to see Godot.
Who is this Pearlie?
That's my little cousin, Pearl Fay.
So when did you hear about this?
Oh, just a while ago, when I was in the medical office.
I'm terribly sorry, but what you heard from someone else is simply unadmissible as testimony.
What? Come on. Pearlie would never tell a lie. She's a way more honest person than I'll ever be.
Real smart, Maya. You always know the best things to say when you're under oath.
Ha. The prosecution has no objection. We believe the witness.
Mr. Godot,
Let's just move on to the cross-examination. If the defense has no objections.
this is highly unusual, but... Well, Mr. Wright?
Let's get this cross-examination started. Okay. After the incident, I would love to know why Pearl would be cheered up after seeing Godot. He cheered her up? That's what Pearlie said. She said he was a very nice older gentleman. Thank you for looking after my cousin, Mr. Godot.
And here I was thinking you were nothing more than a coffee addict.
Ha. Cut it out. You're making me blush.
This guy's really beginning to get on my nerves in more ways than one.
The truth is there aren't many places to look on the inner temple side. The policemen were all busy going over the garden with fine-tooth combs, so I decided to carry out an investigation my own way, Godot style.
I'm the same way. I like to hand my...
Clown is stunning.
No, you couldn't have seen that, buddy. Because you want to know why? Because after the murder took place, that scroll was obscured by gravy. The only way you would know what that scroll looked like is if you were there before the murder took place, or perhaps even better than that, when the murder took place. Checkmate, Godot. Western taste? Could he find a stranger way to describe gravy?
So from there you headed for the prep room?
Wait a sec. What did Godot just say now? I think he just found his proverbial weak spot. There's only one thing of any importance here. Where was Godot when the murder was taking place? He must have already been at the inner temple when it happened. Otherwise, he couldn't have killed at least him. Okay, so where does it say... Godot... Nope, no, it wasn't for the first time. Because of this! Mr. Godot, the first time you crossed Dusky Bridge and went into the inner temple was long before the murder took place. Why do you say that? Because he just made one fatal slip-up. The hanging scroll in the training hall.
Hanging scroll?
But Mr. Godot is right! The scroll shows a picture of my mother! Maya, I know you know who it is, but here's something you didn't know. By the time the bridge had been repaired 2 days after the murder, the hanging scroll in the training hall looked like this.
What's that wonderfully delicious spell?
The morning after the crime, someone covered it with gravy. Gravy? But why gravy, Nick? Because gravy was much more than a condiment to the culprit. Well, Mr. Godot, if you really hadn't seen the hanging scroll until after the murder, you wouldn't have had any way of knowing that it was Misty Faye. Wait a minute, Nick!
Yes?
Taking a look at the hanging scroll. Look, at the top, there's a crest there.
Ah, it's the mark of the master, correct?
Exactly! So if you know the meaning of the mark...
You could guess that it was a picture of Misty Faye on there. No, because he described her clothing. True, but Mr. Godot described it was underneath like this, clad in her stunning Japanese garb surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes.
Oh.
Yes, it's possible that he knew what the crest meant. However, he couldn't have known that she was wearing Japanese clothing. Mr. Godot, on the day of the murder, you were hiding at the Inner Temple long before the crime took place.
Can I ask you this one little thing, Trite?
What is it?
This whole theory of yours, it all rests on a certain assumption. That I knew beforehand that a crime was going to be committed.
That's right! Otherwise, there's no reason for him to sneak onto the crime scene.
Of course Mr. Godot knew about the plan.
Huh?
Well, what did you just say? Is it really possible that another person knew of the plan?
Yes! Oh yes, because the letter was opened. The letter was already opened, right? Doesn't, opened once before. Opened once before. He had read it beforehand.
This crime was actually planned over a year ago. Morgan Fay authored the plan for her daughter's future, and these instructions were hidden somewhere in Fay Manor for over a year. However, by the time Little Pearls found these instructions, they had already been unsealed. Unsealed? Yes. The killer had read these instructions long before Pearls ever found them. That's how he knew the crime was to take place at the Inner Temple.
And you still insist this crafty killer was me?
You bet I do.
But you just said the instructions were hidden.
That's right! Mr. Godot couldn't have known where the instructions were hidden.
If he really wanted to know, he had one great chance to find out. Yes, and when was that? During a visit.
A visit?
Morgan Fay told her daughter Pearl about where the instructions were hidden. During one of her visits to the detention center. That would be the only time for someone to have learned where they were hidden. Sure. Eavesdropping on a visit to the detention center? Yes, it could be arranged if you were someone with easy access in and out of there. Like, for example, a prosecutor such as Mr. Godot. Order! 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 Mr. Godot, you're under fire again. This murder could not have been carried out without prior knowledge. And you were the only one that could have acquired this information before the murder.
Humans are afraid of the dark, and yet, at the same time, we're fascinated and bewitched by it. Maybe that's why humans drink the dark instead of coffee.
So, sorry for asking, but what does that mean?
It means there's a reason for everything. According to your theory, the killer in this case eavesdropped on a conversation during a jail visit where he learned of a hidden plan for a crime. After discovering the plans, he hid in the Inner Temple and waited for the crime to occur. Then he ultimately took a person's life. And he did all that just to protect this witness?
Yes. Because you were Mia's boyfriend. So you had a very, very strong reason to care about Maya.
If you're accusing me of this crime, I have to ask you, why would I do this? This goes on the...
Nope, no, she's not.
Oh, we're gonna reason to go through that kind of trouble to protect...
Yes, you do. Yet you actually just do, though.
I am what you see. I am still not the type to rescue the down from the stress. Killer's behavior is certainly extreme, for lack of a better word. Even considering that the killer wanted to protect this witness's life, his behavior is still a little too unnatural.
However, you had a good reason, didn't you, Mr. Godot? An unshakable reason for what forced you to protect this witness at all costs.
I knew it! You figured it out, haven't you, Nick?
Maya, I guess you were doing your best to cover for Godot. For the same reason, huh?
Okay, Trite. I'm all ears. Let's hear it.
It's very simple. Maya Fay is a lot more than just a stranger to you. What's this? There's one person who lies at the very center of this whole story. One person that ties you and Maya Fay together inextricably. There's a very good reason why Maya Fay's life is so precious to you. After all, she is Maya Fay's only sister.
Mia Fay.
You once worked alongside her. That was when you or a defense attorney. Well, wait a second here. Mr. Godot is a defense attorney? With your honor's piercing intellect, you must have figured it out by now. The real name of the man who calls himself Godot? His real name is Diego Armando. Isn't that right?
The last time someone called me by that name was over 6 years ago.
Diego Armando. That name rings a bell. It should, Your Honor. All this is related to a single case. A case in which a convict named Terry Falls killed himself. Mia faced first time in court. The tragic outcome left a deep wound in her heart. She knew that behind it all was a heartless, scheming demoness in disguise, but in the end, Mia couldn't tear off that disguise. However, there was one man who reached out to help her. Diego Armando, a senior defense attorney at the office where Mia worked.
It's my fault. It's all my fault that Mr. Falls killed himself.
Mia, you can't cry yet. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. I was moved by her. The way she put all her faith in her clients, that pure sweetheart of hers. That's why I could never forgive Dahlia Hawthorne. Me and I thoroughly investigated that fake kidnapping incident. The one fateful day Dahlia wanted to meet with me. It had been 6 months since the trial. We met in the courthouse cafeteria.
Ah, I just remembered. 6 years ago, right here in this courthouse, you were poisoned.
Even I didn't see it coming. Dahlia Hawthorne slipped some poison into my coffee.
Some newspapers at the time called it a murder, but very little information about the case was released to the press. But you weren't dead at all.
No official reports ever actually called it a murder. I was just in a deep coma.
I see.
My body shut down and my life became nothing but a long, deep sleep. That woman's poison did a real number on my central nervous system. I lost my sight, and all of my hair turned white due to the damage it caused.
That's terrible.
Apparently, it was a miracle that I ever regained consciousness. 5 years had passed since I drank that poison brew. Then one morning, my eyes flew open from the smell of a doctor's cup of coffee.
For 5 years? You were asleep for 5 years?
And the worst possible news was waiting for me. Mia Fey was dead. From the very moment I opened my eyes, I had already lost everything I thought I had. The woman I loved and had been murdered, and the woman I loved and been sentenced, the woman I loathed and been sentenced to death. The woman who had spiked my scalding hot coffee, Dahlia Hawthorne. Ha! Good old Mia. She didn't let me down. She got her revenge before she checked out. In the end, there wasn't anyone waiting for me when I woke up.
That's so sad.
For someone like me, for someone who had slept away their best days, there were only 2 reasons left to live. And it was for those 2 reasons that I decided to become a prosecutor.
If I may ask, what were your 2 reasons to live?
The first was you, Wright.
Huh? Me?
If I hadn't drank that stupid poison, Mia Fey never would have died, much less the way she did. You were the only one who was there to protect her, but you let her die. It was all your fault.
It wasn't like that.
I wanted to see for myself what kind of a man you really were.
So that's why you became a prosecutor?
My other reason for living. She goes by the name of Mia Fey.
Huh? You mean me?
You were the only way I could make up for the sin of not saving Mia. 1 year ago, when the Korean village incident was resolved, it was obvious that Morgan Fey was planning something. Whatever her evil plan was, I was determined to stop it. My role as a prosecutor put me in the perfect position to do something about her.
That's how you overheard Pearl's visit with the Morgan Detention Center.
I knew that the time was drawing near. Since I knew the plan, I thought I could foil it. My goal is to outwit the plan. I thought if I could do that, I could keep that girl from being caught up in it.
That makes sense. If Pearls had known that the actual purpose of the plan was to kill Maya, she never would have helped out.
Oh, finally, the day of the plan was drawing near. I contacted both of my accomplices.
Accomplices?
Iris of Hazakura Temple and Misty Fey. I especially needed the help of Iris. She was to take the fall on my backup plan, in case we couldn't control Pearl Fey.
But how did you contact my mother?
She had been missing for almost 20 years. Officially, yes.
What? What do you mean officially?
You've heard about it, haven't you? About the strong ties between the Main family and the government?
Now that you mention it, Bikini did say something to that effect. She said that the Master of Korean has great authority.
Even without her official position, Misty Fey still wielded great influence. The police have been keeping an eye on her movements all this time. That's how I was able to contact her. Again, because of my position as a prosecutor.
So my mother was cooperating with you?
Don't ever forget, no matter how far away from you she was, she never stopped thinking about you.
She was always...
That's why I knew she would do anything to protect you. If you want to know how strong her resolve to protect you was, look at her staff.
Her staff? The one with the sword in it?
The day the plan was to be carried out arrived soon enough. We met for the first time at Hazakura Temple. That's when your mother showed me her special staff. I realized it then, just how far she was willing to go. She was ready to use that sword to protect you from Morgan Fay if necessary. Yes, even if it meant paying the ultimate price.
Mother! That's actually just so sad.
That night, the night of the crime, there was just one way to stop Morgan's evil plan.
You mean pearls, don't you?
We had to make sure she didn't channel Dahlia Hawthorne.
Well, Pearl, what are you gonna do tonight?
Well,
If you'd like, you can come to my room. Perhaps we can read some books together.
I thought we could prevent her from playing her part in Morgan's plan, but she never showed up.
She was worried and followed me to the inner temple.
That was the thing we were most afraid of, and that's why Misty Fay had to do the channeling herself. She channeled Dahlia Hawthorne into her own body.
What? What do you mean? If she channeled the spirit first, then Pearls wouldn't be able to do it herself.
As Master of Kure, Misty Fay's power was supreme, so that's how it went down. She channeled Dahlia Hawthorne so that Pearl Fay wouldn't be able to.
Ah!
What? Is this true?
My role in the plan was to make sure no one was going to hurt Maya Fay. That's why I hid myself at the inner temple, just in case she needed to be saved from Dahlia Hawthorne.
Godot.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to admit to, Trite.
Huh?
There's no doubt about it. You're a great defense attorney, but you're going to have to do the rest yourself.
The background leading up to this incident has been laid bare. There's just one question remaining, Mr. Wright. Who killed the victim? It was him. There are only two possible suspects right now. Maya Fay, and I'm sad to say, you, Mr. Godot. It was him.
It was very obviously him.
Well, Trite, if you're the real deal, then finish this thing once and for all. Show us beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can finish this on your own.
No, Nick! Please don't! Maya. I heard the whole thing from my sister in the medical office. That's why. I have to protect Mr. Godot. I can't do it. I can't testify against him. After all, he's the man who put his life on the line to protect Mia, and me too.
Maya, I know that.
Nick!
But even so, it doesn't absolve him of his crime. Please, Maya, testify. Miss Fay, your testimony, please. This is the final testimony. Don't bother trying to hide anything because I'll know. I want to hear the truth from your own lips.
I understand. I'm sure you're right. I'm ready now, Nick.
Alright, young lady. Tell us about the moments before you lost consciousness. What exactly happened at the time of the murder? Okay, the time of the murder. Here we go.
Just before it happened, I think I saw some red lights. 3 of them. I thought I'd ask for help, but just then I was splattered with blood. She wasn't dead though, and she struck back the enemy behind her. Suddenly, the red lights went out and the whole area was dark. Just at that moment, there was a horrible scream.
There was a scream. There was a scream. These red lights, I thought you said you don't remember seeing them.
I'm sorry. I thought I saw them, but then they disappeared all of a sudden.
Ha! These break, Trite. Even the best of theories. Who was it that stabbed Misty Fay? Listen, you still can't prove it.
Maya's telling the truth this time, I know it. The rest is up to me. Well then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your final cross-examination of the witness. Okay, the final cross-examination. The time of the murder. Well, the first thing I want to know about is the scream you heard. What do you mean by just at that moment? Do you mean the moment when the red lights went out?
Yes, that's right.
The scream that you heard then, was it Dahlia Hawthorne?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was a man's voice.
The lights went out.
Oh, you know what, actually? Because earlier he said that there was a wound under the mask, right? So if the lights went out, the lights go out, he was screaming, so she stabbed him through the visor?
So then the scream came from the killer? That's gotta be it.
I think Dahlia Hawthorne must have taken the blade and attacked the killer with it.
And then the killer let out a scream of pain, huh? No, that doesn't make any sense.
No, because the staff would have already been inside her. Because Maya was already splattered in blood, so it would have had to be something else. It would have been the dagger! It would have been the dagger. After that, the killer stole the blade back and bled with the final blow, I guess.
Well, Mr. Wright, it seems to make sense to me.
Nope, there's a contradiction. I'm sorry to say this, but that interpretation would cause an enormous contradiction.
That makes sense. After all, my deductions are almost certainly never correct.
Remember the testimony she just gave. Maya said she had already been splattered by the victim's blood. In other words, the blade and the staff had already been plunged into the victim. Ah! Is that right? She couldn't have struck back with a sword that was already stuck in her body. The weapon that caused this killer to let out a scream must have been something other than the staff, such as the dagger.
If you're so sure about that, then don't keep us waiting any longer, Trite.
There's only one thing I can think of that could have been used as the murder weapon here.
If Jolly Halton had already been stabbed in the back by the staff,
What could have been used? It could have been the dagger. Naturally, the dagger the killer brought to the scene of the crime.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
This dagger was found at the crime scene, stuck into a pine tree.
yes, the detective found that this morning and brought it to me.
Dahlia Hawthorne struck back at the killer with this, and she managed to wound him as well.
Just because he bled the scream doesn't mean that he was wounded. For all we know, the blood in the dagger could have been from the victim.
Nope, we already confirmed it wasn't the victim's blood. Have you forgotten the blood has already been tested? Since we learned it wasn't the victim's blood, it must be the killer's blood. The killer must have had a wound somewhere on his body.
So you're saying the blood in the dagger belongs to the killer?
Exactly. A DNA analysis of the blood would prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And yes, Mr. Godot, it would prove that it is your blood.
Nice theory, Trite.
Order in the court. Is this the end? Have I done it? Even he won't be able to change the result of a scientific test.
Huh. Let me ask you something, Trite. Let's just say that it turned out that I was the killer. Do you really think that I would be stupid enough to leave evidence like that?
What?
Think for a second, the dagger Frost found this morning by the detective and brought to me. There was already blood in it, correct? But even so, I was the one who brought this dagger here to the courtroom.
Yes. What does that prove?
Well, if I was really the killer, I could have washed the blade off and then planted another person's blood on it.
It can't be.
In any case, the one thing I can guarantee, Trite, the blood doesn't belong to me. Not a chance.
In any event, it seems to be established that the killer was wounded. Alright then, witness. Continue your testimony.
Well, wait a minute!
Well, what's the problem?
I know I probably shouldn't say this, but it's a big contradiction next to an explanation. But, Maya? This dagger, you said that it wounded the killer.
That's right.
But, if most of Godot had really been cut with the dagger, this close would have... No, because it would be under the visor. We already established this. You said the lights stopped working, right? And the only place we wouldn't be able to see is underneath the visor, so just stab through the visor. Maya? Maybe he just changed his clothes? That solved the contradiction pretty easily. What are you talking about? It's not that simple at all. Remember back to the day of the murder. Even everyone that was on the inner temple site got trapped there.
Oh, that's right. And once the bridge was fixed after the police headed for the inner temple, Mr. Godot was already there.
Mr. Godot was already there waiting for them. He never had a chance to change his clothes. Ah.
Order in the court.
Well, maybe he brought a change of clothes with him.
But no one could have predicted the lightning strike that shut down the bridge. Why did anyone have brought a change of clothes?
You're all missing the very The judges take smart pills during the last recess. You're missing the very obvious possibility here. The way you wouldn't get any blood on it. Are you suggesting he killed her naked?
That's impossible, Trite. You know how cold it gets up there late at night. After a few minutes, no clothes can be frozen solid.
Ah.
Ha, so that's all you got. I knew you weren't tough enough to finish this. Right now, if Mia Fey were here, she would have closed the book in this case already.
If Mia Fey were here?
So come on, Trite. Can you do it or not?
How about it, Mr. Wright? You've accused Mr. Godot of being the killer, but can you prove it? You got even one piece of evidence?
This question isn't whether I can prove it or not. The fact is I have to prove it. That's the only choice I have. I was taught that it's one of the rules of being a lawyer. Yeah, I can prove it. I'm going to bring your magnificent vengeance to fruition. It's the original pursuit music! Like the original of the first game! Oh my god, the callbacks, they're so good!
Since there's just one piece of evidence that can prove your point, why don't we go for the unlimited penalty?
Are you trying to pressure me, Mr. Godot? Because it doesn't matter to me. I've got the one piece of evidence I need.
Give me a break, you got nothing, right?
So what do I do at a time like this? It's simple. I've got to think outside the box and approach it from a different angle.
Alright, Mr. Wright, let's see what you got.
There's one thing I have to demonstrate in the previous cross-examination. The killer was wounded.
But we decided it was multiple defenses to wound. If he had been cut by a dagger, it should have been busting on his clothing.
There's one place the killer could have hidden his wound.
What did you just say?
Hidden? I love the fact that they used the original Pursuit theme for the final showdown. This is it, my last time. I need to think about this from a different angle. I don't need to think about why there were no bloodstains in the clothing. I need to show how he hid the wound.
To the end of the line, the final stop, Tride, let's see what you got.
Where's the location where you said the killer hit his wound?
Behind the mask.
Huh. I don't know what you're talking about, and frankly I don't need to know. What I do know is that you'll never be half the lawyer she was. Isn't that right, Trite?
Oh, what?
What was that just now?
Mia?
It can't be. You're living on through him?
Even as we speak, you're still hiding the wound. Oh. Oh, that's an awesome shot! That is such an awesome piece of imagery, oh my god! It's beneath your mask! During the fight, the red lights given off by the killer suddenly disappeared. Seconds later, the killer let out a scream. That's right, your mask went flying off your face! Mr. Godot, would you mind removing your mask? If you have a dagger wound under there somewhere? Then I'd say this whole case is solved! Did we do it? Did we win? I think we just won. But that shot where both Mia and Phoenix pointed at the same time, that was so awesome. And there's your stupid coffee again.
Just now, I saw a spirit in you. I never liked you. 6 years ago, you helped the woman who put me to sleep by hiding a bottle of poison, and then, while I was sleeping, you let Mia die. But you didn't care. You just kept living your pathetic happy-go-lucky.
You are not one to talk.
You had the nerve to follow in your footsteps as a lawyer. I could never forgive you. That's what I thought.
Mr. Godot!
But I was wrong about you. I knew it from the very beginning. The truth is, the only person I could never find it in my heart to forgive was me.
You yourself?
I was the one that failed to protect Mia. Me and no one else. I tried to avert my eyes from the truth to escape from the harshness of reality. I just couldn't face Mia's death head on, so I ran. I hid behind a mask, I threw away my true name. I couldn't even deal with being a defense attorney anymore, so I quit.
But you saved Maya.
Yeah, that was my plan. Up until just now, anyway.
What do you mean?
Are you listening, Maya? If I really wanted to save you, then there's one person I should have gone and talked to right away.
Well, who would that be? Are you talking about Nick?
But I didn't do it. I tried to get the help of Iris and your mother, but I closed my eyes to the most important man involved. Do you know why? The real reason?
No, why?
I suppose I wasn't really interested in saving you at all.
Huh?
I think I was just trying to salvage what's left of my own broken soul. I was trying to make up for the fact that I couldn't save Mia, nothing more. That's why I let you walk right into a situation I knew was dangerous. Forgive me.
You're wrong. You put your life on the line to save Maya.
Was it really for Maya's sake? Even I'm not really sure.
Well, what do you mean by that?
That night, in the darkness of the garden, I saw her silhouette. A part of me must have known the truth. The truth that it wasn't really Dahlia Hawthorne standing there in front of me. I could have been Missy Faye, or even that little girl, but I still picked up the blade. It was like I was dreaming. I'm not sure exactly what was going on in my mind at that point. Was I really motivated by the pure desire to protect Maya Faye? Or was it something else? Was it my hatred for a woman who had stolen everything from me 6 years ago earlier? Could it have been simply a desire for revenge? And now, I don't know anything anymore. I did learn something today, however. I finally realized that I was the arrogant one. I was just chasing an illusion, a fantasy. The stupid fantasy of defeating you in the courtroom. You were the one who made me realize my folly. You never ran away from me as death. Instead, you picked up where she left off as a true defender of the people.
So awesome.
At that one moment, I understood everything.
Mr. Godot.
I think you already know this, but if you don't, my name is Diego Armando. Yep.
Mr. Armando, I believe in you. I know you were trying to save me.
There's the wound.
Thanks.
Your wound, it's bleeding.
Ha, you forget already? In my world, the color red does not exist. These must be my tears.
Cheers.
Ever since I woke up from my coma, I think I've been waiting for this very moment.
Mr. Armando.
You do well to remember this, Maya. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over.
That's a nice little payoff. This time, it really is all over, isn't it? Defendant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Although you weren't directly involved in the murder, tampering with the body in the crime scene is a serious offense in itself.
I understand, Your Honor.
Mr. Armando.
Mr. Armando explained this to me very carefully. I knew the risk and I was willingly to cooperate anyway.
Very well. Before I hand down my verdict, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, there is one thing. I'd like to say something to Mr. Wright. I want to apologize.
Apologize to me? For what?
For the case 5 years ago, of course.
I just remembered. Weren't you poisoned by your own lover? Not exactly, but yeah, something like that. Even now, 5 years later, I can hardly believe it. She was going to do it. She was planning to kill me.
It's not all that surprising. The two of you hardly knew each other.
Huh? What do you mean?
You and my sister, you only met twice.
Huh? We only met twice?
The first time you met was on that fateful day. The day she poisoned Mr. Armando in the cafeteria of this very courthouse. The next time you met her was 8 months later. You met her again on the day that she stole your cold medicine. And Doug Swallow was killed.
No way. It can't be true. I mean, during our whole relationship, we were...
For those 8 months, the woman that you thought was Dahlia Hawthorne wasn't actually my sister.
It wasn't Dahlia?
I hope you can forgive me, Feeny.
You mean...
That's right. I lied to you for 8 months.
But why? Why would you do such a thing? I knew it. I knew it too. Remember when I said, when we first found out that they were twins, that Phoenix made a comment about how that didn't seem like his Dahlia? Because it wasn't. It was Iris he was dating. I was so right.
Ever since she gave you the bottle that day, my sister was trying to get it back as soon as she possibly could. Because of the police investigation and their surveillance, she couldn't move about freely.
So that's why you...
My sister, from the beginning she was prepared for the worst.
Prepared for the worst?
She thought that you might just somehow discover the truth. That's why she was always ready to deal with you at a moment's notice.
You mean she was ready to kill me, don't you?
She already had so much to answer for. I didn't want any more sins on her soul. I begged her not to do it, and she agreed to give me a chance.
And that's why you came to me? You came to get the bottle pendant back from me in her place?
But I couldn't get you to give it back. I failed at something even as simple as that. 8 months passed and I still couldn't get it back from you. Finally, my sister couldn't wait any longer. She didn't consult me about her plans for you that day. It was the first time that had ever happened.
That was a bit strange, wasn't it? Up until that day you two were partners in crime and she would confer with you.
I think she must have noticed.
Noticed what?
My feelings for you. If I had found out she was planning to kill you, I would have done whatever was necessary to stop her. Even if it meant her life or mine.
Iris.
After spending those 8 months by your side, my feelings toward you, they changed.
I have something to say to you too. You really are the person I always thought you were. Even after Dahlia Hawthorne was found guilty, I still believed in you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just smiling.
How many cups of darkness have I drank over the years? Even I don't know. I'll tell you though. Right now, this one here is the greatest cup I think I've ever had.
Aww.
Don't you think so? Phoenix Wright?
Ah, he called me by my actual name! Ah, and we're drinking it too! Yeah, I think you're right. The purpose of this trial was to rule on the murder of the victim, at least in him. At some point, I expect you will be tried for your role as an accomplice in this case.
I understand, Your Honor.
Very well. On the charge of murder, I hereby find the defendant not guilty. Oh my god. Court is now adjourned. What a case. What a freaking case. February 10th, 4:51 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 1. So I guess it's all over. The way everything ended. Was justice really served? The man who risked his life to save Maya is being sent to prison by my own hand. Of course justice was served. Mia, I'm proud of you, Phoenix. Your defense was truly brilliant. But I couldn't save him. I love the music, by the way. The man who cared so deeply for you. You're wrong, Phoenix. You did save Diego. You saved him in the only way possible. You mean, with that verdict? I think one day you'll understand too. Phoenix, I want you to remember one thing. You were as good out there today as any defense attorney could ever hope to be. There's nothing more you can learn from me. Mia, you've accomplished something I wasn't able to. I owe you a great deal. Thank you. Mia, I'm sure we'll meet again someday, Phoenix. It's over! I've handled lots of cases and seen a lot of things, and along this journey I found myself asking just one question. What does it really mean to defend someone? I suppose today's case produced one possible answer.
Nick!
Maya.
I guess it's just like my sis said.
Mia? What did she say?
That night when I channeled Mia to get her advice on what to do, this is what she wrote back in my notebook. Don't worry, Phoenix will save everyone in the end. But, come on, cut it out with that gloomy face. Can't you see? Me, sis, and I'm sure I was too. We owe you for everything you've done for us, Nick.
Maya, how? How can you be so bright and chipper after all that's just happened? You were brutally attacked, you even saw your mother murdered. Ah, Francisca. Francisca.
Still as salty as always, Phoenix Wright.
Edgeworth! Excellent work, Wright.
Huh? Mr. Edgeworth, what did you get back?
Oh, that's right, I guess no one filled her in on that. Edgeworth and Francisco have actually been helping me.
Helping you?
If these two hadn't been here on the first day of the trial, the defense wouldn't have gotten anywhere.
Wow! But where were you, Nick?
I heard he fell into a river and caught a nasty cold which forced him to sleep all day.
Yes, he laid in bed shivering from his fever while Iris's hood pulled over his head. Oh, ouch! Talk about embarrassing, Nick. You definitely need more training. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. And you too, Francisca?
I don't suppose. Oh, Larry, we're having an emotional moment right now, Larry. You do not belong here. There's room for me in this group, I guess. No, there's no room. There was no room. We filled up all the spaces.
Oh, Larry!
What's with the, longer than usual face? I realized something when I was reborn. I realized that Larry was not of any use to anyone, not even once. Oh, and Laurice is so much better.
That's not true, right, Nick?
What? You're asking me? Well, Nick, is it true? Yeah, of course. I knew it! Everyone would be better off if I was down for good. No, that's not what I'm saying. I never said that. Those portraits you painted, they were really good. Isn't that right, Edgeworth?
What? Me?
Why are you making that face, huh, Edgy?
Oh, well, yes indeed. I certainly can't say that I lack resemblance.
Do you really mean it? What about you, Francie? Did I draw you well, too? Ah!
My beauty can't be possibly captured by a mere crayon. Nevertheless, I recognize the effort you put into it, and that's worth something.
So then you'll do it? Like you promise? You're going to model. Ah!
Don't get carried away.
Well, how about that? I guess painting portraits is the only thing I'm good at. The painting of Pearl is pretty darn good too, if you ask me. Huh?
Now that you mention it, I haven't seen her around.
Pearls. Where could she have gone? Unless she would have made a beeline for Maya.
Oh, I'll go look for her. Be right back. Hey, Pearly!
Right. You seem to be uncharacteristically puzzled. I suspect you are wondering how Maya can be so cheerful despite all that has happened.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't understand it either.
Francisca. That's right, she lost her father fairly recently as well.
I think I understand how she feels. Maya is a much wiser person than she appears, and I think she realizes something. Now is exactly the time when she needs to be strong as she can.
Oh, for Pearl's sake.
What do you mean by now is exactly the time?
Maya wasn't the only one that was badly wounded in this incident. In fact, there was someone that was hurt far more deeply than she. I believe it's for that person that Maya is trying her best not to cry.
Someone who was hurt more deeply than Maya, Edgeworth, and something I'm starting to understand too.
Ow! Then tell me, Phoenix Wright, who is Maya?
She's being strong for Pearl.
Pearl Faye?
The poor kid. After all, the reason that she worked so hard to follow the instructions was because she loved and believed in her mother, Morgan Faye. It's for the good of the Faye clan. I'm sure she believed in every last word. She thought she was doing it for Maya, that's why she was so happy. It shows how truly devoted she is to Maya.
But it's a cruel irony that it was her exuberance that led to this tragedy. Maya Faye's mother was killed and Maya herself was put into the deepest peril imaginable.
And that's exactly why Maya's putting on a brave face. She's doing it for Pearl's sake, until she can see her smile again. Gumshoe! Oh hey! This is where you all were! Wow, wasn't it? Ouch! Oh, what was that for, sir?
Sorry about that, Scruffy. My whip just seems to have a mind of its own.
What's up, Detective Gumshoe?
Oh, you know, this and that. Anyway, congrats on your win. Let's go out tonight, pal. Dinner's on me. My salary's just sort of kind of gone down by a teeny weeny bit, but it's alright. We have reservations at a first-class French restaurant tonight.
Please tell me it's not Trevian. Please tell me it's not Trevian.
Pretty good work, Scruffy. That whip is your reward.
Detective Gumshoe, you said a first-class French restaurant, you don't mean Trevian, oh no. I mean, I know why, obviously, because Maggie... Actually, would Maggie still be working there? I doubt it. After what happened, I can't imagine she would go back to work there. I knew it, we're doomed.
Come on, let's go, everyone. Can't keep Maggie waiting, pal.
She still works there, really? Hey, you!
Hey, you, Cryberry, you're invited too.
Oh, forget about me. Probably I'll be eating the loser's check, eating oh, no, you know, Maya's taking an awfully long time to get back. She's still looking for pearls. Well, she couldn't have run too far off because she was just here channeling Mia. Oh, Maya, what's wrong?
Nick, what do I do? Pearly, I can't find her anywhere.
Huh?
I bet she just went back home, that's all.
I thought so too, so I called the village, but no one has heard from her. This has never happened before.
As I figured, she's been badly hurt by this incident.
Wait a minute, how? She was literally just here. She was literally just here channeling Mia. Where in the crap did she go that quickly?
She was responsible for the tragedy that's befallen you, Maya.
But none of this was her fault. What should I do?
Detective Gumshoe,
Yeah, what is it, pal?
could you guys go on ahead?
But what about you?
Maya and I we'll join you guys once we find pearls.
Nick!
Don't worry about us, Detective Gumshoe. We may be a little late, but we'll definitely be there. We have a lot of celebrating to do tonight, and I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah, but you're the...
Very well, Phoenix Wright. We'll go on ahead.
Don't keep us waiting, right?
We won't.
But where should we look? Where could Pearly have gone?
Let's go, Maya. There's only one place I can think of that pearls might have gone to. February 10th, Hazakura Temple main gate.
Hazakura Temple.
For pearls, I bet this is a very important place. After all, it's where the whole incident started.
Ooh, what's this? You're all back again so soon?
Sister Bikini?
I thought we'd be eating mashed potatoes alone tonight.
So she's here? Pearly is here?
She's in the training hall. Why don't you hurry along and go see her?
Oh, okay. Pearly's not here.
Ah! Maya, she's the hanging scroll.
Ah!
It's back to normal.
Someone cleaned it off.
It's gotta be pearls.
Ah! Mystic Maya!
Pearly! Why did you just leave like that? And how in the living daylight did you get back here so quickly?
Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya! I swore that I would never trouble the two of you ever again, because it was all my fault and Mystic Maya's mother.
That's why you came here?
It's the least I could do to pray for your happiness.
You don't have to do that, Pearly. It wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Of course I'm sad that my mother is gone, but how do I say this? I'm still happy.
You don't have to lie just to make me feel better.
No, really, it's true. The only reason I'm still here at all is thanks to everyone who was there for me. My sis, my mother, Mr. Armando, Nick, and you. If even one of you weren't there, I'm sure I wouldn't still be alive right now. That's why I have to be strong. For all the people that were there for me when I needed them. That's all I can really do.
Mystic Maya! I'm impressed. You truly are the daughter of Mystic Misty.
Sister Bikini,
Your mother, Missing Misty, was a strong woman indeed. I want to tell you what she said to me that night.
After disowning the good news hearing, I don't have the right to face my daughter, but still, Maya's always in my thoughts. It's true. She'll always be with me until the day I die.
Your spirit was with her. That's why your mother was so strong. Even at the end, I'm sure she had no regrets.
She'll always be with me until the day I die, huh? There's a rule or something all masters are to follow, aren't there? To never take off the charm until the day you die.
That's the master's talisman!
The thing that Misty kept by her heart and would never take off. It wasn't the container that was important, rather it was the contents.
That's... a photo?
Ah! Mother! It's only natural for living creatures to fight to protect their own lives. But what makes us human is that we fight for others. But who do you fight for? How hard must you fight? That's the true measure of what human life is worth. We defense attorneys are warriors who are constantly challenged by that question. Aww. She never did forget. Even when the battle is over and the bonds that connect us are severed, we always return, time and time again. Mia, Maya, Pearls, Mr. Armando, and Maya's mother, too. I learned that from all of them. Well, shall we get going? Everyone's waiting. This is a day to remember. A day when a lot of things were finally put to rest. I think we should celebrate what we've overcome today.
But I still can't... Oh, go on, sweetie. You can come back for training anytime. Okay.
Alright, I'm going to make a brand new start too. Sister Bikini, I'll be back for more training, I promise.
I know, and I won't go easy on you just because you're the future master. I'll make sure to prepare reservations for 3 when you come back. Whoa!
Wait, 3? Wait, 3? Wait, 3? Who's the third?
Okay, Mr. Maya, I'll eat lots and lots of food tonight.
You know, there's one thing I don't get, and probably don't want to, but
What is it, Nick?
reservations for training is fine and all, but why for 3? Come on, what do you think? You're one of us, Nick. What? No! No! No, thank you. I will not be sitting under a waterfall and chanting the same thing 30,000 times in a row. No, thank you. Huh?
I'll be waiting for you. Sister Bikini will take special care of you.
Huh? Huh? It'll be great, Nick. We're going to do the special course naturally. Huh? Huh? Huh?
That's a great idea. After all, Mr. Nick, you'd do anything for Missing Maya, wouldn't you? You'd mark hot coals, right?
We'll have a nice big meal before we come next time, right, Nick? You know, I was wondering if I can say just one little thing. Oh, it's gonna be the objection. It's gonna be the last objection. No, the game is about to end. Aha! Sure, of course you can.
Oh, I love this part. I can't wait to hear it. I'm getting goosebumps too.
Well then, here goes nothing. Oh, that's it! It's over now! Oh my god, the music is so beautiful. I really have to work extra hard now. Master Crane is an office manager of Wright and Company Law Offices. And I have to be a good big sister to Pearlie and Nick too. Well, as long as I'm not locked up or captured or something like that. Oh, this music. Oh my god, it's so beautiful.
So it's true. Mr. Nick really is missing Maya's shining armor. He went through with a special course.
He did? Why did we do that?
Actually, I heard it's a legendary extra special ultra course too. I think I'll surprise the two of them by making them a secret reservation.
Wow. That was the perfect ending. Absolutely perfect ending. That's tied with Halo 3 in terms of video game endings. Man, you brought me a brand new coat as a present, pal. I feel 10 years younger. Yeah, it's the coat from the original cases. Yes, but somehow you just don't seem the same. I guess a dirty, shabby old overcoat is just more detective-like, sir. Don't worry about it. In the name of love, I made him soil himself silly. This music is so beautiful. Like, this case was perfection. There were so many payoffs. We got to see Phoenix and Mia work together to take down Dahlia Hawthorne, just like we did in the very first case against Mr. Sod. Pearl isn't bound to her mother anymore. She's not gonna blindly follow her mother's instructions. That was a setup in the second game. An acoustic version of the Turnabout Sisters music. Nice. Yeah, but Edgeworth finally got to live out his dream of being the dream he always desired, of being a criminal defense attorney. Since the very first game, that was his dream, and he finally got to live it out. And in addition, Edgeworth and Francisca got to face off against each other. Godot redeemed himself by saving Maya. He mourned. He finally got a chance to mourn for Mia. He finally ended his hatred for Phoenix. And Phoenix's heart really was in the right place. He didn't love Dahlia. He didn't love an actual demon. He loved Iris. That's the girl he fell in love with. And from the first game, where did Misty Faye go? Solve that mystery. Maya finally got to reunite with her mother. And her mother loved her to the point where she sacrificed her life for Maya. So many payoffs. Maya finally, after 3 games, she finally became the master of the Korean channeling technique. And even Larry, after years of being an absolute failure at everything, found something he's talented at. And I just... Okay, the first game had a running plot thread for Phoenix and Edgeworth. Phoenix and Maya, and actually Phoenix and Mia as well. There wasn't a continuous plot, but there were continuous character stories. The same kind of thing happened with the second game, only it was more of a running theme about the morality of justice than an actual plot thread. But this game had continuous character stories with almost everybody. Every single little breadcrumb of a clue came into play in this final case. It had continuous themes and a continuous plot from the first case to the last. It put a greater emphasis on the Faye sisters, especially on Mia and her relationship with Phoenix, and it tied every single loose end together throughout the entire trilogy. This entire game was pure perfection. Gameplay-wise, it wasn't anything super new, but something about the Cyclops sections felt more refined than they had previously. I don't know how to describe it, because the actual mechanics were unchanged, but it seemed like the instances in which they were used seemed more appropriate this time. Oh my god, I'm in love. That final case was just so good. So good. Everything about it. The characters, the story, the mystery, it was all perfect.
You turned into such a respectable man, Feeny. It was so sweet of you and everyone else to come and visit me here the other day. Of course, I was happy that you constantly had your eyes on me, but I felt kind of bad when the little one slapped you so hard you got a nosebleed.
Voice? But we haven't had a voice section before. Because it's the end of the trilogy, they're actually giving the voice actors their credit. That's awesome. And like I said, the music, every single piece of music throughout this entire trilogy has been freaking incredible. And another thing too, unlike Justice for All, where in Justice for All, the last case was really the only real 10 out of 10 experience. Like, the second case was great, 8 out of 10, but there was only one perfect case. And this time around, my reaction to this game isn't just blinded by the finale. Because yes, this finale was perfect, but every single case for this entire game has been phenomenal. Getting to actually play as Mia was such a cool idea. Then that they executed it brilliantly. Especially by having Phoenix be your first client. It's just such a cool beginning. Even for Phoenix's cases alone, the Stolen Turnabout had one of the most genius twists in the whole trilogy, and that is up against some very stiff competition. You know, the entire first trial was a distraction for the real crime thing. Although, and yet it's still probably the weakest of the old bag.
What's this? I'm back from a long and tiring vacation, and no one is here to greet me.
Because no one cares about you.
I guess while I was gone, my little whippersnapper buddy quit. Now I got no one. And what kind of lonely, crazy security room is this supposed to be anyway? What's with all the flashing lights and switches? I feel like some sort of space alien. And now what am I going to do with all these macadamia nuts I brought back for everyone? I really can't accept these. I'm afraid of something to the heart. Well, am I ever gonna find a gentleman to dream of a fine lady?
Oh boy.
The Stolen Turnabout was still probably the weakest case of the 5. I mean, obviously, this case was the best. Indisputably. Mia's 2 cases come next. Recipe for Turnabout might squeeze in between them, since it brought back more memorable characters in the last 2 games and tackled some new ideas in the story, but this game was a love letter to the fans of this trilogy, and an absolutely perfect conclusion to everyone's story arcs. It's just, I can't sing this game's praises enough.
This was just so perfect from start to finish. It's the Ace Attorney family! It's everybody! Phoenix, Maya, Pearl, Gumshoe, Enter, Francisca, and Mia, Godot, and Misty Faye, the 3 people who have sadly passed away. Wow. Wow, what an awesome conclusion. It's over. What a perfect trilogy. What a perfect trilogy. I'm gonna miss this game. I know I almost always say that when I do Let's Plays and walkthroughs, but this time I am really, truly going to miss this game. This trilogy is now in my top 5 favorite games I've ever played. Like, my number 1 is always going to be Dragon's Lair 3D. Number 2 will always be Battle for Bikini Bottom. Number 3 is the Halo Saga, and this takes number 4. As far as the and I've played a lot of video games, a lot of incredible video games, and these games take number 4 on the list. That is how awesome this has been. The gameplay was addicting, the stories were almost always well written, and the characters were all relatable to some degree, except for those blasted circus clowns. It's bittersweet. I'm really sad that it's all over, but I'm also thrilled beyond belief that it happened. The last game I played that left me in this kind of state of mind was Undertale, and that was almost a year ago. No, that was a year ago at this point. So it's been a long time since I've fallen in love with a new game to this extent. I'm never going to forget these games. I wish I could forget my experience playing them, just so I could experience them all over again for the first time. That's how much I love this trilogy, and to anybody who's stuck with me since the start of this game, thank you so much for watching my Let's Play. To the people who've been watching since the start of the trilogy, and especially to anyone who's been watching since I first played this game back in April, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this adventure. Before anyone asks, I know that there were more games beyond this trilogy, but I also don't think I'm ever going to play them because, I don't have a 3DS. I have had the time of my life playing through these games. I love these characters so much, and I am so sad that it's over. But my god, am I happy that I played this. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for, I guess, my next video, and I'll catch you all next time for whatever video is next. Goodbye. What? I was just ending the video. Am I not allowed to give my outro in peace? Yes, I'm well aware that there are more games after this, but I've already made it perfectly clear I don't own a 3DS, so I can't record these games. Oh? It's available on the App Store? And that one? And this one? And that one too? Oh. Well, in that case...